different breeds of alien life?
Look, a number of the people I interviewed in my film, senior intelligence officials, went on the record saying that there have been dozens of crashed craft of non-human origin over the years, and elements of our government have recovered those crashes, and they've gotten out of that technology of non-human origin, and in some cases, non-human bodies that were on these craft. A number of the people in my film go on the record saying that the bodies were not all the same type, meaning there were multiple species.
Were the bodies alive or were they dead?
The people in my film talked about events where they were dead bodies, they were deceased bodies.
Okay, and there's a lot of speculation about the amount of UFO information we've been given on this first tranche. We expected more. We know there is more. Why do you think people inside the government are fighting so hard to release more?
Yeah, so the president gave his directive in middle of February, essentially instructing all federal agencies to declassify evidence of non-human intelligent life and UAP. What happened after that is the White House had to go get that evidence out of the hands of all these federal agencies, and they all for the most part pushed back. The people who have gatekept this information for 80 years, they don't want to share it. You know, they've gotten a lot of power and control over the years, and it's just frankly not human nature for people to want to give up power and control. So there's a tug of war happening behind the scenes. There are a number of other reasons guiding their desire to keep this secret, including a general belief that the public can't handle the truth. I would argue the public can handle the truth. I think my film shows that. People aren't watching it and jumping out of windows. They're curious and they want to learn more. There's also a general feeling that, a concern that they can't tell the American public what they know and don't know without also telling our adversaries and giving them some sort of advantage. But I think that that's not really accurate. I think our adversaries know we're not alone in the universe. They know we've been recovering craft of non-human technology, non-human origin. Saying it out loud wouldn't give them any new information.
Is there
Those base
also
facts can be shared.
Like the credibility factor? You know, this is a government that's lied to us about a lot of things for a lot of years, and this was one of the big ones. You were called crazy if you even suggested anything like this. And now
I gotta say real quick, this whole thing about being crazy for thinking that aliens exist is crazy. Do people know how many planets, how many stars there are, solar systems? It would be crazy to think, unless, you know, it was your religious beliefs. But outside of that, it's crazy to think that that their aliens wouldn't exist. So I don't understand that.
Releasing files admitting that it was actually real. Are they trying to protect themselves, their own credibility?
Yeah, there's certainly an element of that. I mean, no one wants to take accountability. You know, a lot of people's lives were ruined over the years covering this up. A lot of careers were ruined. And, you know, one of the other concerns people who involved in keeping the secret have is the fact that they're worried about coming forward, sharing evidence they have, and then being punished for it, being treated like criminals. You know, and so there are members of Congress right now who are trying to put together amnesty language to give protections to these people so they can step forward more comfortably.
If they did end up releasing an image or a video of non-human life recovered from a craft, and they put that out there, what do you think the public reaction would be?
I mean, truthfully, I think this day and age, with the rise of AI, half the country would probably think it's an AI image and not real. That's why I think, you know, my film has moved the needle, because it's credible people putting their reputations on the line to share what they legally can.
Nice way to kind of promote his film, and like, yeah.
And there's real stakes to that. You know, I think it makes much more of an impact these days when we live in a time where everyone thinks everything they see online is fake.
Do you think the president's a believer? This weekend he posted an image of himself.
I just want to say, like, whether you're a believer or not, like this, like, is the president a believer? It's just like, to me, it's just kind of beyond obvious and extremely logical, like would only make sense. And the big question that we're going to get to that soon. They sort of touched on, people's reaction, and they're going to get to that more, and that's what I mainly want to respond to. But it's about why they're here, and I have something to talk about that.
Walking down the tarmac with an alien.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah. Look, I think he's learned the reality of the situation, that we're not alone in the universe. And, I think this disclosure process is happening because he's put it in motion. I know I just heard today from friends on the House Committee to Declassify Federal Secrets that there will be another 40 or so UAP videos declassified in the next 30 days. On top of that, key members of the cabinet are aggressively trying to find the most meaningful evidence within the federal agencies and branches of the military, so they can then decide what of that evidence can safely be declassified. And this is going to be a rolling process. It's going to be a rolling disclosure process.
I mean, we're seeing a video right now on the screen. I expect to see better quality videos. We've been hearing stories about craft that right degree angle, things that just you can't even conceptualize flying that way. It's a humbling experience for the human race. That has to be a major issue here, almost a religious issue.
Yeah, look, some people say they worry it would negatively impact religion. I don't really personally see that. I think that all the world's religions will sort of fit this into their existing dogma in one way or another. And I think a lot of these arguments that society can't handle the truth and we're all going to be too shook up by this, I don't think that holds up at this day and age.
No, well, this presidency has.
So that's what I want to talk about. I do think, I would love for them to just release the truth, but people are overlooking what's really going on with the aliens. Why would they be here? What would make sense? Everybody just thinks that they're just our buddies, or they're just visiting, they're just watching. They do need resources. They don't just live on magic. So there's the reports of the cattle being slaughtered. The farmers believe it's aliens. There's no other explanation by the way the organs and blood is taken. A lot of reports of human abductions, taking semen, perhaps eggs, probably interbreeding with our animals, like mixing and matching animals together, but probably a lot of human abductions. And then there could very well be a long-term plan, as the Anunnaki said, of taking our gold, but not only our gold, just all of our metals and all of our resources. We're literally getting out of the ground for them. And how convenient that we look just like the Nordics. The Anunnaki, said that we were basically seeded by the gods or the aliens. But that would only kind of make sense. So to me, it's not far-fetched. It really just makes sense. And what wouldn't make any sense is that they're just here just for no reason. And so that's what they're overlooking about the public's reaction, because whenever you tell the public they're here, they're not visiting. Also, if they have to travel at the speed of light, even if though that slows time down for them, it's still planets like Orion is like 1,000 light years away. So when you go back and forth, you don't even know what planet you're coming back to. So traveling back and forth, unless there's a way to really jump, space, isn't that feasible. And it's more likely they're living here. And you also have the deal, like so many of them go into the ocean, come out of the ocean. And you got the stories of Antarctica, which I believe that they are living underground in Antarctica. It's actually like a perfect place to. You have whatever temperature you want, basically, because the deeper you go, the warmer it'll get. You got great water resources, all that. But the U.S. military's got that certain area in Antarctica, like super secure, and in the no flyover. And there's been some stories on that. There's a whistleblower, flying over what he described as a hole, and of course there's the bird famous diary, but that they don't know if it was made up or not, whatever. But the whistleblower, said he did work. He was a pilot on an emergency crew for in Antarctica for the military, U.S., and they flew over the no flyover zone to get to an area quicker. And he said it was a big hole. And then he said when they landed, the men in black said they can't do that again. So on the way back, they had to go around it. The guy ended up dying, that they were recovering. Anyways, that story that he told was on the History Channel at one point on Ancient Aliens. But either way, I think, yeah, in terms of it's what are they doing here? Everybody seems to have this idea that, like, oh, they're in for our best interest. Why would they be in for our best interest? I don't think they're looking for a friend. And if they were in for our best interest, they wouldn't have to do it so secretively. They'd just like come out and be like, boom, here you go. Uh, they're in probably for their best interest. People, think that because they're aliens and they're able to do all this, that they just like are so advanced that it's almost magical. But they probably, still need real resources and metals and also biological resources. They might need our blood plasma. Like, what are they living on? If they've left their home planet, maybe there's nothing left of their home planet. They have to live on something. They need stuff. They need medical stuff and stuff. And so they're probably getting that from us realistically. They probably really are kidnapping people. And they're also probably doing a lot of breeding stuff. There's probably a lot of human alien hybrids. And so that's where the public might start to kind of freak out. And I don't think the government will release all that information and say it's all like that. But even when they say they're here, it does start to bring in the next question. Well, what are they doing here? Anyway, I'll leave it at that. That was the main point I wanted to make. Getting interesting, though, with the UFO stuff. Please subscribe and like the video if you liked it. And leave a comment with your thoughts. And I'll check them out. Thanks. Bye.